Welcome to First Unitarian Society of Minneapolis, the birthplace of Congregational Humanism. We carry on that tradition of free thought today, dedicated to promoting a free search for truth, meaning, and justice. Our web address is firstunitarian.org. Thank you for joining us. Good morning, everyone. My name is Jacob. I have you usually back there, but Mikki asked me to sing some songs today. The first tune I'm going to play is a song by the band Wilco. It's called Hints. It's off of their Cruel Country record that came out during COVID, and it's just kind of filled with songs that are about the times we live in. The second song is going to be an original of mine that I'm working on a project with some friends. It's kind of folk, country-influenced protesty songs. Yeah. And then the last one is a song that Mikki's been wanting me to sing for a while called Dreamland by Amos Lee. And yeah. Forget when we were, I guess, an empty continent. We stretched our necks to here below the decks, but our fears were never real enough, so we would just project. There is no middle when the other side would rather kill than compromise. There is no middle when the other side would rather kill than compromise. Adjust your eyes to the light, let them roll with pride. Focus your mind on the fight, put your hand in mine. The hills of holiness already happening. Rivers rounding ridges in our fingertips. A love too big to see us overpowering. And ever since heaven sends us sacraments and subtle hints, there's no middle when the other side would rather kill than compromise. There is no middle when the other side would rather kill than compromise. Adjust your eyes to the light, let them roll with pride. Focus your mind on the fight and put your hand in mine. Do you remember when we would forget? When we were, I guess, an empty continent. We stretched our necks to here below the decks, but our fears were never real enough, so we would just project. Focus your mind on the fight and keep your hand in mine.
Thank you, Jacob and Mike. And welcome to First Unitarian Society on this hazy morning in Minneapolis and to our first Sunday gathering of 2026. It is good to be together, and it matters that you are here today. As we begin, we take intentional time to acknowledge that those of us who are relative newcomers here live and work and play on the traditional lands of Native peoples who have been here for millennia. We are located on the past and current and future homelands of the Dakota Oyate, and we continue to name this reality as both admonishment and encouragement to form deeper and more respectful relationships with the Native peoples of this area. There's a lot to unpack and reckon with in our history, a history that includes genocide and cultural erasure and colonialism. May we do that work with intention. First Unitarian Society is a member congregation of the Unitarian Universalist Association of Congregations, and I'm Reverend Jullan Stoneberg, your Interim Minister. I use she, her pronouns. If you are here for the first time, well, we're just happy to see you, and I look forward to getting to know you. Please join us for our weekly mini-meal in the lower assembly hall after this service. And do feel free to ask questions of those sitting near you. I know we all want to warmly welcome you. And if you want to get on our list for regular updates, you can stop by the office to sign up to receive our e-newsletter, and then join us anytime in whatever ways work for you. Today's assembly includes a couple of special things. The first in a series of social justice highlights to showcase the work that we are doing, and then also an appreciation of Dave Leussler, who has served this congregation literally and so faithfully. Because of these additions, the assembly might run a little longer than usual, and we've made the adjustments necessary with the mini meal and the programming that follows, and we appreciate your flexibility. Because of the holidays and school breaks, our non-assembly Sunday morning programming is on pause. Ethical Explorers, Coming of Age, and 5th and 6th grade OWL will resume next Sunday, and of course everyone's excited to get back to that. We are always a multi-generational community, and we welcome all ages here in the Assembly Hall, and we'll be sharing a wisdom story in just a little bit. Note that there's always a dedicated space here for families and kids, which today is up front by the piano. And childcare is available down the hall to the left as you exit this space, if that's something that you would like to make use of. We always embrace the movements and sounds and interactions that come with being an all ages together community. So I now invite you to turn to one another in greeting, maybe especially reaching out to someone you don't know yet. The folks online are right behind that camera, and so you could wave to them if you'd like. And there will be a QR code on the screen to access an order of service. If you'd like a songbook, we're using both the gray and the teal books today. Welcome, everybody. Say hello. Woo! Thank you for all of that greeting of one another. It's lively and wonderful. Our theme for the month of January is practicing resistance, which is a great resolution for us to make as we enter this particular new year. Today, thanks to the research done by Mikki Morrissette, we look at some of our own history of resistance through the lens of Reverends John Dietrich and Raymond Bragg, who were part of this congregation, served this congregation 100 years ago. Our opening words are those of Erica Hewitt. She says they were inspired by Reverend Elizabeth Nguyen's chapter, Our Work for Social Justice, that's in the Unitarian Universalist Pocket Guide. It's called To Be a Unitarian Universalist. To be a Unitarian Universalist means we'll never be done with the work of telling the truth about oppression, the work of resisting any laws, policies, or practices that deny anyone their humanity, the work of stubbornly seeking out the spark of the divine in each other, no matter what, the work of creating heaven on earth. To be a Unitarian Universalist also means we're not alone in the work. We're not alone because of our promises to love one another. We're not alone because we are companions on the journey. We grow ourselves into allies, helping one another get free, because none of us is truly free until we are all free. So come, let us do that work of helping one another to get free, that all might be free. We, oh so persistently, light our chalice each time we gather in order to inspire us to use our powers to bring light into the world. As Paul comes to light the chalice here, I invite those of you at home to light a chalice where you are, either with an actual flame or just in your heart. Today's chalice lighting words come from our statement of values, love at the center. Love is the power that holds us together and is at the center of our shared values. We are accountable to one another for doing the work of living our shared values through the spiritual discipline of love. And now our chalice is lit in our hearts, in this space, and wherever we're gathered. May its light awaken us to the blessings of this day and to all the possibilities that lie before us. Now let's speak our congregational covenant. Love is the spirit of this place, and service its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. So let's sing a great Holly Near song, We Are a Gentle, Angry People. It's number 170 in the Gray Songbook, and the words are on the screen. We're going to sing verses 1 to 3 and then verse 6. If you'd like to rise in body and or spirit to sing, please do so.
Gentle, angry people. First Unitarian Society is a congregational humanist community. We are here for each other, our neighbors, and our planet, and one manifestation of that is our caring team. My name is Claire Nyquist, and I am a member of that team. Joy and sadness, celebration and hardship coexist in our lives. If at any time there's something happening in your life that you'd like to share with the care team or with this community, or if you need some support or would like a visit, please call the FUS office, send a note to joysandconcerns@firstunitarian.org, or click on the link provided in the Friday Update newsletter. For today, we have not received any specific joys or concerns to share this morning, and yet I know that we are all aware of those who need a little extra support or affirmation. We hold each other in care and in understanding. That said, there are, of course, places and situations in our city, our nation, and around our world where folks are suffering or under attack. Venezuela and its future, people of Iran, the victims and families of the fire in Switzerland, those being targeted by ICE right here in Minnesota, and of course, those with decision-making power in our own government. These are among the things that weigh heavy on our hearts. May care for each being and the common good prevail. Let's take some quiet time together to breathe, to connect with our shared humanity, to feel the solid earth beneath us, and to remember that we are not alone. In the silence, you're invited to reflect on all the joys, losses, griefs, and milestones that you hold in your hearts. May all those we love and all beings everywhere be at peace. A moment of silence.
Invite you into singing meditation on breathing. We'll begin with the drone. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love.
Good morning, everybody. So good to see everybody in this exciting new year. My name is Zola Rosenfeld. I use she, her pronouns. I'm the education director here at FUS. Very excited that we're going to be hopping back into our programming next Sunday with Ethical Explorers, Coming of Age, and OWL. Hope to see people there. We have been doing some intergenerational stories since I've been free and not in Ethical Explorers, so we have a special one for you today called The Sneetches by Dr. Seuss. Now, the star-belly Sneetches had bellies with stars. The plain-belly Sneetches had none upon theirs. These stars weren't so big. They were really so small, you might think such a thing wouldn't matter at all. But because they had stars, all the star-belly Sneetches would brag, "We're the best kind of Sneetches on the beaches." With their snoots in the air, they would sniff and they'd snort, will have nothing to do with the plain belly sort. And whenever they met some, when they were out walking, they'd hike right on past them without even talking. When the star-belly children went out to play ball, could a plain belly get in a game? Not at all. You could only play if your bellies had stars, and the plain belly children had none upon theirs. When the star-belly sneeches had Frankfurter roasts, or picnics, or parties, or marshmallow toasts, they never invited the plain belly sneeches. They left them out cold in the dark of the beaches. They kept them away, never let them come near, and that's how they treated them, year after year. Then one day, it seems, while the plain belly sneeches were moping and doping alone on the beaches, just sitting there, wishing their bellies had stars, a stranger zipped up in the strangest of cars. "My friends," he announced in a voice clear and keen, "my name is Sylvester McMonkey McBean, and I've heard of your troubles. I've heard you're unhappy, but I can fix that. I'm the fix-it-up chappie. I've come here to help you. I have what you need, and my prices are low, and I work at great speed, and my work is 100% guaranteed." Then very quickly, Sylvester McMonkey McBean put together a very peculiar machine. And he said, "You want stars like a star-belly sneech? My friends, you can have them for $3 each. Just pay me your money and hop right aboard." So they clambered inside. Then the big machine roared, and it clonked, and it bonked, and it jerked, and it burked, and it bopped them about, but the thing really worked. When the plain belly sneeches popped out, they had stars. They actually did. They had stars upon theirs. Then they yelled at the ones who had stars from the start, "We're exactly like you. You can't tell us apart. We're all just the same now, you snooty old smarties. And now we can go to your Frankfurter parties." "Good grief," groaned the ones who had stars at the first. "We're still the best sneeches, and they are the worst. But now, how in the world will we know," they all frowned, "if which kind is what, or the other way round?" Then up came McBean with a very sly wink, and he said, "Things are not quite as bad as you think. So you don't know who's who. That's perfectly true. But come with me, friends. Do you know what I'll do? I'll make you again the best sneeches on beaches, and all it will cost you is $10 eaches." "Belly stars are no longer in style," said McBean. "What you need is a trip through my star-off machine. This wondrous contraption will take off your stars so you won't look like the sneeches who have them on ours." And that handy machine, working very precisely, removed all the stars from their tummies quite nicely. Then, with snoots in the air, they paraded about, and they opened their beaks, and they let out a shout, "We know who is who. Now there isn't a doubt. The best kind of sneeches are sneeches without." Then, of course, those with stars all got frightfully mad. To be wearing a star now was frightfully bad. Then, of course, old Sylvester McMonkey McBean invited them into his star-off machine. Then, of course, on from then, you can probably guess, things really got into a horrible mess. All the rest of the day, on those wild, screaming beaches, the fix-it-up chappie kept fixing up sneeches. Off again, on again, in again, out again, through the machines. They raced about, round and about again, changing their stars every minute or two. They kept paying money, they kept running through, until neither the plain nor the starbellies knew whether this one was that one, or that one was this one, or which one was that one, or what one was who. Then, when every last cent of their money was spent, the fix-it-up chappie packed up, and he went. And he laughed as he drove in his car up the beach. They will never learn. No, you can't teach a sneech. But McBean was quite wrong. I'm quite happy to say the sneeches got really quite smart on that day. The day they decided that sneeches are sneeches, and no kind of sneech is the best on the beaches. That day, all the sneeches forgot about stars, whether they had one or not upon theirs. The end.
If I could have chosen, I would not want to follow up Dr. Seuss, but you know. It's okay. It's okay. While I'm tuning, I'll just tell you, this song, you know, we've all been having, 2025 was a hard year. And my wife and I had some unfortunate things happen that added to that, and I decided I wanted to have a song where I got to sing very loudly, "No More Despair." And so that's why I wrote the song. And if this tunes, I will play it for you. I see you folding over. I know you're breaking down, but I see you standing up. I hear you crying out. A wretched wind is blowing. Can you feel it picking up? But I see you in your beauty, giving all your love. Oh, no more despair. Oh, no more despair. I see you pinching pennies, but I'm with you breaking bread. I see you casting shadows, but I know we'll find the light again. The ghost of all we come from is humming in our bones, something that is ours that we cannot own alone. Oh, no more despair. Oh, no more despair. While the planets spin in outer space, there's a bird that sings a lone refrain. Purple waves that crash a distant shore, while I sit here in my shell, growing old. I know, please know.
Thank you, Jacob. And welcome, everybody. I'm Mikki Morrissette. I use she, her pronouns. I've been a member of this congregation, I think, 12 years now. So to set the stage for today, this is a story in 3 parts, as most good stories are. However, today we're going to start with part 3, and then we're going to work in reverse order to part 1. Just keep that in the back of your mind as we share these words from the past that has become the present, but also has a possible new future in the game that we call civilization. So part 3. Our Reverend Raymond Bragg gave a talk at First Unitarian Society in December 1935 called If Fascism Comes. And thank you to George Green, who helped me track this down. We were archivists together on a lot of the past talks, and he helped me figure out where all of our talks on fascism were. Bragg started off talking about the dystopian novel that was written by Sinclair Lewis that year called It Can't Happen Here, which was a story about the rise of fascism in the U.S. It depicted a populist named Buzz Windrip, who's elected president by promising to restore greatness and fight crime and welfare cheats. Instead, after election, he consolidated power, suppressed dissent, and established a dictatorship with stormtroopers. The story is told from the view of a newspaper editor who originally dismissed the candidate as irrelevant, but became witness to the erosion of democracy because of patriotic fervor, attacks on the press, and the creation of a local military force. Sinclair Lewis's book, Bragg said, explores the dangers of political polarization, the rhetoric of us versus them, and how easily democracy can be destroyed from within. As Bragg went on in his talk, he suggested that if people could actually see the record of fascism compared with achievements, people would conclusively see that Hitler's Germany and Mussolini's Italy made much of their plans to increase prosperity, but would instead find wages steadily declining. He said both promised peace, but carried on unprovoked war and a fast and loose diplomatic game. He said that nationalism is the disease of fascism because it corrupts the public mind with pseudo-racial theories and enslaves them to their own prejudices. One direct quote, "Fear is the state from which men commit political suicide."
So this is part 2. In 1932, a few years before Raymond Bragg gave that talk, Reverend John Dietrich came back from Germany and gave a talk here called My Impressions of Germany. He had been to Germany before and returned because he loved many things about that culture and the landscape. In 1932, however, he could see how Germany was changing under Hitler. He said, quote, "There is the rigid censorship of the means of communication and the prostitution of press and radio to purely nationalistic and political ends. There is the utter suppression of the rights of labor. There is the attitude which is slowly but surely restricting the freedom of women and driving them back into the kitchen. There is the conversion of the whole educational system from public school to university into one vast organ of propaganda," unquote. Dietrich noted that it was confusing that this had all been accomplished with the approval of a large mass of people, including some adulation of Hitler. Quote, "You may wonder how Mr. Hitler dared persecute and punish all these people, but the answer is found in the support of millions who enthusiastically are with the government," unquote. Dietrich went on to explain how Hitler rose to power. He said, "All they feared, he defied. They leapt to him as to a savior." Much of his support came from lower middle classes who had no life savings or old age security and who had never been actively involved with politics. They saw in Hitler a leader to whom they could transfer all their troubles. His sense of marching shoulder to shoulder with pomp and flair offered an escape from the harsh realities of the present, an escape that would lead the country to its rightful place of superiority. It was thought, Dietrich added, that German industrialists had given considerable financial support, partly as a means of crushing strong trade unions, and because they thought wrongly they could eventually control Hitler. Hitler's power had also been accomplished by imprisoning and brutally treating dissent. People faced the prospect of imprisonment without trial, allowed largely, quote, because the people had been convinced that these dissenters are actual enemies and should be treated with an iron hand, unquote. Even though those being persecuted had made Germany their home for generations and had added to its culture and economy, Dietrich said, the propaganda was working, propped up by young people who were learning about Nazi theories of race, focused on anti-Semitism and the superiority of the German people. Reverend Dietrich also talked often at First Unitarian Society about how the U.S. and the world could be improved. In a talk called Our Haphazard Civilization in Need of a Plan, he talked about the need to build toward a global connection. He said that because of advances in communication, transportation, and economic interdependence, quote, our planet is today smaller than almost any single nation a century ago, unquote. We must get rid of narrow and petty nationalistic loyalty and substitute a planetary consciousness and loyalty to the human race. The whole world must be seen as an economic and political unit. General free trade is one of the first necessities of the world today. All protective tariffs should be cast aside in all countries, unquote. He pointed out his criticism of where industrial capitalism was leading us. Quote, the most damning indictment that can be brought against our present civilization is that it has placed production above humanity, material wealth above personhood, unquote. Reverend Dietrich also said that it is only in the darkest moments that we can make decisions to change our course. He said, we otherwise tend to be floating on the current of chance, generally content to travel wherever the stream might go. It is when we hear the thunder of rapids ahead and the pounding of waterfalls plunging that we get serious and cry, every person to the oars. Nearly 100 years ago, with the world at war and the Great Depression still lingering, Reverend Dietrich laid out strong views in his talk, These Terrible Times, How Shall We Face Them? And the purpose of his talk that day, he said, was to answer this question. In a world so dark and forbidding as this, where the powers of evil seem to be in the ascendancy, what are the sources of our hope? In a world where all seems black, how can we continue in our struggle toward the light? He reminded us of the old falsehood that human nature cannot be changed, that we can refuse an economic system that causes injustice, and that we can refuse selfish nationalisms and greedy imperialisms.
Which leads us to part one. As introduction to this group of excerpts, let me first ask, how many of us have ever played the game Civilization, which was a board game in the 1980s and then a computer game in the 1990s? I loved that game. The goal of the game is to lead an entire human civilization over the course of several millennia by controlling various areas, such as urban development, government, trade, research, and military. The player advances the exploration and development of the world and makes decisions about how to set forms of government, tax rates, and research priorities. So as I share a few more of Reverend Dietrich's words from 100 years ago, keep in the back of your mind this question. When we emerge from the fire and the ashes of today, what are we going to build in a new way? This is a new year, but not yet a new era. What do each of us want to prioritize for reshaping? So, a few more thoughts to share from Reverend Dietrich, and let's think of this as part one, looking forward to a new year, a new era, a new start. In his talk, Can Man Be Civilized?, Dietrich said that one difficulty in the early years of humanization of all people was that many people originally had learned that it was every man and every tribe for himself. As cities evolved, systems established a social order of industrial, educational, and political systems that took care of sanitation, traffic, housing, business. The ultimate goal of civilization, Dietrich implied, is that people learn, after centuries of tragic experience, that we must live and work together. Dietrich's talk was inspired by reading a 1932 book called Can Man Be Civilized? He talked about how pervasively, despite human intelligence, we cling to old ways of doing things. Our propensity toward warfare, for example, was a failure of intelligence to master the problems of human relationships. Another failing of intelligence, he said, quote, is the persistence of poverty, utterly inexcusable today when machinery has made possible sufficient production to satisfy the needs of all. We also fail to use our intelligence, Dietrich said, in the way we treat crime. Despite the development of psychology, we fall back again and again on the idea that punishment will prevent crime. A more intelligent system, he said, would be to have trained professionals to, quote, houses of correction interested in the restoration of the lawbreaker to normal citizenship by well-established scientific methods. He talked about how the great increase in private wealth in the U.S. was in the hands of a few individuals, and that's what led to the Great Depression, when our, quote, power to produce goods far outstripped the ability of the consuming public to purchase what was produced. He reiterated that for humankind to thrive, we need to interrupt the influence of the customs of the past and boldly plan our future. Quote, the sciences of life, man, and society now enable us, if we will, to build a utopia on this earth. Where we go from here is a challenge to human imagination and social engineering. I'll offer Reverend Dietrich's thoughts from one more talk delivered at First Unitarian Society in March of 1932 called Grounds for Hope in the Present Chaos. He pointed out that we've been in dark times before and endured. We planted in wilderness, cultivated knowledge, emancipated women, and abolished human sacrifice, slavery, and other ills. Yet industry, he said, also gave us a materialistic philosophy, quote, a commercialized life that has sapped the vitality of all of our idealism. During this wonderful development of industrial civilization, we have plunged into a wild orgy of selfish exploitation and reckless greed that has made us appear to be great and strong and prosperous. In the process, he said, we have neglected and forgotten that the body needs an equally great mind and heart. In the current crisis, he said bluntly, people have found, quote, our industrial leaders mere selfish exploiters, and our supposed statesmen only petty politicians. However, Dietrich said, quote, the basis of hope lies in the worldwide restlessness of these times. There has been only one age in human history that in its restlessness was comparable to the present time, and that was the period of the Renaissance. It was the age of great thinkers and great explorers. Everywhere there was the stir of new life, new opportunities, new ambitions. He said, quote, "In our hearts must germinate those seeds of a new and better conception of human life, which may survive the deluge that impends." So, to conclude today's talk about the past, that is the present, and leads to our future, I think of all of us as players in the game of civilization. Sometimes, in moments of despair about where our civilization currently is, I imagine what it might be if we cleared the game board and started again. How would we prioritize things differently, learn from past mistakes, and change old ways of doing things? As many of you know, I am the publisher of Minnesota Women's Press magazine. This year, we've launched a new series called Future Forward, which is focused on the imaginative and everyday leadership for systemic change. I invite you today to participate in a kind of brief public opinion assignment. Around the building today, in the back of this hall, I think out in the entry, a couple tables downstairs in the social hall, you'll find note cards and pens. With an eye toward the renaissance that will come after these dark ages, write down what you want to see as a priority when we can replant. Perhaps you want to see a new economic system, a changed system of justice, new systems of mental health or caregiving or housing or government. Pick one priority, share your thoughts on a note card, write down what you would personally like to see reimagined. You don't have to know how, but perhaps reflect on why you think that system needs to be changed. What would you prioritize as a change in the making of a new version of civilization? You can include your name or not. I'll collect these notes at the end of social hall today and write a commentary that will appear soon at womenspress.com, offered as a link also in our FUS group conversation board about what we want to see refashioned in the future. As Reverend Dietrich would tell us, this is the time to think and plan boldly for the future we want, in which civilization can finally thrive. Let's collectively imagine what that looks like. Step one. Thank you.
I will leave that commentary to you and all the thoughts swirling. It's just so fascinating to think about where we have been before and thinking that it can't happen here and then it can't happen again, and yet it is. So this is the time to think and plan boldly for the future, the world that we would like to build together. And so let's sing about that. Building a New Way is number 1017 in the Teal Songbook, and the words will be projected. Please rise in body and or spirit to sing. We are building a new way. We are building a new way. We are building a new way, feeling stronger every day. We are building a new way. seated.
Hello, everyone. My name is Karen Rowell. My pronouns are she and her, and I am here today as one of the directors of the foundation of FUS. First Unitarian Society is a free, independent, and self-governing humanist community. We are the proud birthplace of Congregational Humanism. Our mission is to foster free search for knowledge and meaning, to strive for justice, and to serve one another, the Twin Cities, and beyond. Your financial support means that we can work together toward this mission and is a really important element in turning our shared vision into reality. The baskets will be passed in just a moment, and the QR code on the screen will take you to the online giving form. Or you can go to our website, firstunitarian.org, and designate how you'd like your donation credited. You can also stop by the office or mail in your donation. We invite you to give generously and joyfully as you are willing and able. Thank you so much for your generosity.
So to increase visibility in our social justice work and to invite you into specific ways to take action, we are experimenting with highlighting a social justice project each month. This will be an opportunity to learn about the project, its leadership, and to provide a tangible way for you to plug into the work. And our first highlight is Active Voices. This group creates opportunities for the FUS community to contact leadership at the local, state, and national levels to take action on important legislation. And this work is currently led by Marianne Lundquist and Adele Hansen, and they're here to tell you a little bit about this work and how you can participate.
Hi, I'm Marianne Lundquist. And I'm Adele Hansen. We're from Active Voices. Will members of our Active Voices team who are here today please stand up? And for people who have ever signed one of our postcards, just raise your hand. Oh, almost all of you. So you've been part of Active Voices. Most of you know that Active Voices has been around since 2016 when Kathleen Quinn told Rev Kelly that she was going to write a letter every week. We've evolved over these nearly 10 years. Today, we ask members and friends to sign postcards to legislators, congressmen, and other elected officials, as well as both state and federal department heads on important bills, legislation, and policy that they can affect or support. We wrote in support of 100% clean energy, gun control, safe, against Enbridge Line 3 and Line 5, education, Native American issues, transgender protections, abortion rights, voting rights, and the highly effective Federal Inflation Reduction Act. All these and many more. You've signed thousands of postcards over these years and have helped with some amazing successes.
So this month, we are partnering with Elders Climate Action to send postcards to our state legislators in support of a healthy climate. So we've got new postcards. They're not colorful, but they're beautiful because Elders Climate Action was able to do a nice job on postcarding. We selected two different issues, protection of the wetlands and the support of enforcement of state water regulations that affect drinking water and data center energy use. So starting next week, we need you to get your hands on humanism by writing brief messages, signing them, and then addressing these postcards. We would like to blanket all of our state legislators. So it's a little different this time because last time we always were just getting your legislator. This time, this month, we want to just get everyone in the state, reps and senators, to be getting postcards about this. So on January 11th and January 25th, we'll have two postcard writing sessions in the library at 9:30 a.m. Well, if you can't make the postcard party, you don't like to get up that early, we'll have our AV postcard tabling downstairs after the assembly on January 18th. And if the dates are a little bit confusing, you can check the Friday update and that'll help you. Finally, we invite you to join our AV team. You can help with tabling and sorting out the postcards, but you can also develop messages of your own for the coming year for our Minnesota legislators and officials. If you have any questions at all, try and catch us either after the service or downstairs at the mini meal. And if you don't see us, if you don't talk with us, you can pick up our contact information on slips that Bethany's got in the office. So together, we want to make this 11th year, 11 years of doing this, 11th year of Active Voices, a really great year. Thank you.
Thank you, Adele and Marianne. Thank you for leading this work, and I hope you all can join them in doing that postcard writing. It's so important. And here are just a few more short announcements. This is the first Sunday, which means there's a welcome to FUS session happening in room 307, which is just right outside here at 12:15. If you're ready to learn more about us and explore our pathway to membership, you can join. It's just a half hour with our membership director, Suzanne. There is also a foraging for our future conversation today that begins at 12:30, a little later than usual, just to allow a little more time for the mini meal. There's a Zoom link in our online calendar, and this time we're talking about how things happen here, or who is in charge here anyway. These conversations have been really rich and meaningful, and I hope you can participate. Next Sunday, the 11th, members of the Advertising Task Force will present results of our very successful advertising campaign, and that's going to be at 12:15 here in this hall. And you can check the Friday update for a Zoom link if you're unable to attend in person. And finally, Mystery Pals. I think there's a slide for this. There it is. Mystery Pals is so much fun. It's this great way to build a multi-generational community. So get out your phones and click on the QR code on the screen. We are looking for kids and adults who would like to be paired with an intergenerational pen pal to exchange notes during these long winter months. It goes through March, not through March, but there's a breakfast in March where you get to meet your mystery pen pal. So I hope that you will sign up right away, where the deadline is next Sunday. So now for a celebration. Would everyone who has worked with Dave Leussler in the FUS kitchen or at Plymouth Congregational come on up on the stage? I know there's a bunch of you. Now come on up. You can come up either side. And Dave, would you come up too? We'd like to get you right up here in front. Where's that Dave? Oh, there he is. Woo! Yay. Down from the balcony too. Oh my goodness. Wow. Woo. Look at all these great people. And I know this doesn't include everybody. There might be some down in the kitchen right now, although I see that some have come up. And there's some who weren't able to come today, but we're just so happy for all of your support and volunteerism and fun that you have in the kitchen. And here's Dave. Just stand right here. There is a lot to say about everything that Dave has done for FUS in the kitchen and beyond. For 15 years, he has organized all these volunteers, as well as planning, preparing meals for us. For many folks, what you see is the weekly, not always so many meal, but he has also helped with memorial services and weddings and weekend owl trainings and child and family dinners and occasional clergy council breakfasts, as well as food for new member orientations. And even in my brief time with you, I've been impressed by Dave's ability to kind of see the big picture of everything food related, especially the ways in which food expresses love and care, including being sure that all are fed, that there are leftovers to take home, that there's as little waste as possible, and that there are universal food options for everyone. And maybe most importantly, he's done all this with such care for the volunteers, for every human that's part of this community. I think he really lives his values of inclusion and accessibility and expresses gratitude in such beautiful ways. And more, for the past 2 years, he's taken the lead on planning, preparing, and organizing volunteers for the second Sunday meals at Plymouth Congregational Church, which is a big labor of love that he intends to continue doing. So in honor of Dave, a plaque is going to be mounted in the kitchen near a new can opener. A new can opener that's going to replace the bane of Dave's existence. And here is that plaque, Dave. It's up on the screen too for those of you who can see it. Tim will get it on the wall to remind everyone today and into the future of Dave's many contributions. And in addition, Dave, we have a special gift for you that Michael's going to present to you. It is a one-of-a-kind piece of art. Bob Jandro had it made by a friend of his. And note that this was made out of the old can opener. Wow. It's in the shape of a flamingo or some kind of bird. A turkey. It looks like a turkey, doesn't it? Yeah, it has what are those things, a wattle? A wattle, yeah. We are so grateful for everything you've done for FUS, Dave. Thank you so much. And for those of you who haven't yet met Bill, we introduced him in the Friday update, but that's Bill McGue heading off there, who is taking Dave's place. So now, in just a few moments, everyone will be invited down to the lower assembly hall for a special celebratory mini meal that Chef Bob Jandro prepared today. And today this features honey mustard glazed roast pork loin and herb roasted vegetables, potatoes O'Brien, and a cheddar cranberry beer bread, plus some special cakes, including a vegan one made by Martha Hardesty. So if you are not here in person, I hope that the rest of the day offers you some fun and relaxation, rest. I'm glad that you spent some time with us today, and I hope to see you here in person sometime soon. So now take all of these things into your heart, and let's take a moment to soak in all that we've shared today. Let's hold each other in love as Jacob sings for us once more. And this is that song especially requested for today by Mikki.
Dreamland, nothing's ever what it seems. You stumble around and you fall down and you think it's everybody else's dream. Here in Dreamland, everything's a broken line. You think it's you who's falling apart, and everybody else is fine. But I'm not afraid to dream, even when I can't stop shaking, even when my heart is breaking. And I'm not afraid to dream, even when I can't stop falling, even when the light is calling into Dreamland. Faces without their eyes, trying to hypnotize me, trying to advertise me into Dreamland, sleepwalking into walls. When I feel it tearing me down, it's when I hear my angels call. But I'm not afraid to dream, even when I can't stop shaking, even when my heart is breaking. When I can't stop falling, even when the light is calling. Dreamland, here we go again, feeling like a story doesn't have an end. I can't wake up, even when I fall into the deepest blue. I keep on reaching out for you, but you just listen to me scream. I'm not afraid to dream,
So let us wrap up our time together in this space by extinguishing our chalice. Please join Paul and me in speaking the words on the screen. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. All of these we carry in our hearts and in our minds until we are together again.
And so, of course, I'm going to offer some closing words today from Reverend Dietrich from 1932, when he said, "I refuse to surrender myself to despair. On the contrary, I feel that in the face of such impending calamity, it becomes my stern duty and my wholehearted joy, as at no other time, to produce within my life something of worth, to add my might to the creation of that nobler spirit which shall be the foundation on which the people of the future shall build a new and finer type of civilization, to help sow those seeds." So go out today and this week and this month and this year, knowing what seed you will sow to contribute to the foundation for our stronger civilization. Thank you.